Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about the importance of taking care of our emotions and how much that can bring us peace and the world around us peace. So I'm revisiting this topic. I've taught a class series on taking care of our emotions before, and I'm going to teach it again starting in 2 weeks on February 24th. And the reason is because this is such an important, applicable to everybody all the time topic. And I believe so important for our healing and the healing of all of us and our whole world. So if we can take care of these emotions, they don't fester up and end up creating reactions that harm ourselves and others. Is that most of the time when we do harmful things, cruel things, things that don't really align with who we know we can be at heart center, who we know that we truly are, it's typically because of an emotion that got ignored, undervalued, suppressed, and ended up having to bubble up and create some kind of reaction to get us to pay attention, or it's a signal that things aren't going well for us. And so when we think about being mindful of our emotions, it's never to do away with certain emotions. Our goal is never to not have the bad emotions and only always have the good emotions. There are less desirable emotions, maybe less pleasant experiences of emotions, but I wouldn't call any emotion bad. And we don't want to totally disregard or try to do away with any of them. And so when we're being mindful of emotions, we know that we will always have the whole spectrum of our emotions. And what we're learning to do is how to be with those in ways that help rather than harm. So we lose the fear of these emotions, we lose the avoidance of these emotions and the judgment of these emotions. So we still have them, but now we're developing a relationship with them that supports them and us so that they teach us things and point us in good directions rather than getting us lost or overwhelming us. And this has been so applicable to me right now, as going through the stages of being a new mother, and my emotions are all over the place and I'm feeling stronger emotions than I have in a very long time. They're sweeping over me when I least expect it, and I'm having, I wouldn't say new emotions, but maybe new experience of them or new ways that they're manifesting within me right now. And that I'm having to relearn how to be with them because they can take me by surprise. And if I am unmindful, which happens when you're busy and running about and not paying attention, these emotions definitely can start running the show. And the problem is that instead of listening to the emotion for insights and wisdom on how to take care of ourselves, we end up being driven by the emotion and acting out of the emotion. And this is when our actions kind of reflect the energy of the emotion versus our heart center energy, that internal peace. And if we're really going to show up in the world in the way that we want, in a way that's helpful, in a way that's healing, I would say we always want to act from this center of peace, of love, of compassion, understanding, acceptance, etc. And our emotions, when we act out of those, typically the stronger emotions, maybe the less pleasant ones, we can generate less pleasant behaviors and reactions, which, if we observe the domino effect of that, it rarely leads to the kind of healing or resolution that we really need or is actually healing for us. So, like if we're frustrated or overwhelmed, for example, which I feel often lately, and when that bubbles up, it feels like a tightness, a restriction within, sometimes kind of a fire within. And so if we don't take care of that and recognize that emotion's presence, it turns, kind of interacts with and influences how we see the world around us. So we're looking through frustrated, tinted glasses, and that frustration wants to find reasons that it's present. So it's going to look around and it's going to find examples of how someone else fell short, or they did something to make your life more difficult, or something didn't align in the way that you wanted. So this frustration's looking around saying, why is the world not how I wanted it to be? Why is the world causing my frustration? And so we're looking through the frustration, and now this is adding to the experience of the frustration because we're just fueling it. We're looking around and finding ways to fuel it. You did this, they did this, the dog did this. And it's just like adding on, all these great reasons you have to be frustrated. And every time you think about them, you get more frustrated. So in mindfulness, what we're doing is recognizing that emotion before we continue feeding it and looking at the world through frustrated lenses. We say, ooh, this is frustration, perception, looking, noticing, and I understand what it does to how I see myself, the world, and others. And I'm going to choose not to believe those thoughts right now. I'm going to choose not to react on those thoughts right now. And instead, I'm going to remember what I learned takes care of this emotion. Not in the sense of finding who to blame and forcing them to change, but in the way of looking inward and saying, when I'm frustrated, I typically feel overwhelmed, overworked, uncared for, unsupported. All right, so then we start with the nurturing of that. We start with the compassion towards self, towards our experience, and honoring what that feeling is telling us, and nurturing in the ways that we can, which I'm excited to explore in this class series because meeting these needs is also different for me right now. I don't quite feel like I have the time or space to meet my needs like I used to. So where I used to hope that my cup was about 90% full or higher, now I'm lucky if my cup is about 51% full. So I'm excited to explore, how do we not act out of these emotions? How do we keep them feeling okay and nurtured even if we can't meet these needs quite like we would be fully desirable, right? But so the idea is at least this emotion feels heard and honored and given compassion, and that our intent is to take care of it. And definitely our intent is to not spew that emotion onto the world around us in frustrated behaviors. So once we finally turn back into acting again and speaking again, hopefully it is more peace-centered, more from heart center. Sometimes that even means, which I found a lot lately, means don't speak or act for a little while. We take a step away to breathe and recenter, and that's okay too. We don't have to go to that switch right away. But this is what we're going to explore. I explore it with you. I'm excited to get some time. Each class, it's so important to it's so healing just to take some time with our emotions. I mean, most of us can't dedicate a lot of time to exploring, looking at, and hearing our emotions. So even if that's all we use this 1 hour class time for these 6 weeks, that is definitely good enough. So I really hope that I can share this with many of you. You can find more information on my website. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I hope to see you all very soon.